Emily Francis is down there for us now with some of the family members and supporters of the hostages. Emily, we're over here.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm looking behind, but we are, I know, I'm waiting. I'm looking in the sky because we are waiting for the chopper carrying KEITH SIEGEL to ICHLAB Hospital, which is right here. So I'm not spacing out. I'm looking for signs that helicopter will fly overhead, which will be a very powerful moment. When that happens, of course, we'll come back to you live. But not a dry eye in the house right now as we're seeing on the screen what you've been talking about, OFER CALDERON reuniting with his family in the hospital. Such an emotional moment, especially with his son Erez and his daughter Sachar, who were rescued in the first hostage deal. Sachar has spoken very openly as only a 16-year-old, wise beyond her years, speaking over the past few months how she is still stuck there. In her mind, she is still a hostage in Gaza after being torn away from her father's arms, as we just talked about, with him begging her not to forget them. Also hearing that Ofer and the hostages, I think Yarden, were also for a while literally chained with metal chains inside a cage. This is some of the conditions that these people had to deal with. The fact that they are coming out with such strength, albeit quite feeble given their treatment, is really a miracle, is a moment of joy that could be celebrated during this time in history that once again we will be talking about for centuries to come. It's just a moment that none of us have experienced in life. I experienced 9/11 in New York City. Nothing compares to this, not discounting what happened on 9/11, but this is something where we have gotten to know these families for more than a year, who have become like our family.
There we are, Emily. We can see the helicopter now. Just as you're talking, Emily, we can see the helicopter. So KEITH SIEGEL is inside that helicopter. KEITH, the first American hostage to be freed under this part of the deal, on his way to ICHLAB Hospital, where he will be receiving treatment. And as we've been pointing out, KEITH did not look at all as though he was in good health. Understandably, he is 65 years old. He'd clearly lost a lot of weight. We have heard about hostages being starved, being given very little food. He looked very pale. He looked as though he had aged quite a great deal. So now, thankfully, KEITH on his way to ICHLAB Hospital to receive treatment. Emily.
It is just incredible. It's incredible. I'm looking for it here, but he will be in the best care, as all of these hostages are in the right hands, both physically, as medically, as well as mentally. It'll be a journey, but there's nothing like the warm embrace of family, of an entire nation, to help get them over that cusp. Of course, a lot of highs, a lot of adrenaline. It will not discount the journey, the long journey that they have in front of them. And it also doesn't discount the fact that Yarden Bibas is here without knowing for sure what the fate is of his wife and 2 children, something that, he was apparently told in captivity that they had been killed. So imagine living with this, coming home to the embrace of his incredible family. But this is a story that does not have an ending and does not have a resolution, just showing just how monstrous these people are. Not giving Israel a status check for a man who's coming home and wanting to know about his family, not even that. So it's just a continuation of the psychological torture and terror that these terrorists are imposing on all of us. People in the outside world watching may not be able to feel it as strongly as we do here, but it is just a deep, deep, deep psychological wound that is still continuing in spite of this joyous news.
Emily, thank you. Emily Francis there down at Hostages Square in Tel Aviv as KEITH SIEGEL